Hi and welcome. I just picked up this tool on eBay and it just got delivered yesterday. It is a dressing tool for my surface grinder, sort of a copy of the Yuasa. It might even be a Yuasa, I don't know. It says made in Japan on it, but that's all it says. And when I opened it, this isn't how it was packed. That's obviously, I've already opened it. It came with some diamond couple of diamond dressing tools plus the one that's on it. But there was one little problem with it. So when I popped it out of the package, here's what I discovered. One, there's a fair amount of slop here, which I think I may be able to adjust and tighten up. But more disappointing, you see this dovetail here, is that when you hold this and you rotate this handle, this is supposed to make this part go back and forth on the dovetail. And it does not work. So I'm going to dig in here and see if I can find out what's wrong with it. I think we'll just disassemble it and then clean it up and put it back together, because I assume it worked at one time. In here, I sort of expect to see a rack and pinion gear. Now, of course, there's no guarantee that this actually did what it said, you know, what I think it's supposed to do, which is to go back and forth. Because the brand is unknown, all there is a little made in Japan tag on it. But I'm pretty sure that's how it was designed, because it's like a clone of the Yuasa, so I'm pretty sure that's what was intended. All right, let's dig in here. So first off, we're going to pop this guy off the shaft if it'll come. It does not want to come easily. Nice. May need to use something like a gear puller to get this off of here. Let's see, I can loosen this one as well. Oh, that's kind of gritty feeling. That's not good. Well, I guess everything's going to rely on popping this guy off. So I'm going to see if I have a gear puller that'll work to get this guy off of here. All right, so we're going to pop this gear off of here. I mean, off this knob. Oh, it looks like I'm going to need some sort of pin to push down the middle. All right, so I put a pin in here so I could push this all the way through. It's pretty tight, so this is going to be fun to get back on too. I think that gets it. Here we go. Okay, one knob off. Let's see if I can get that knob off next. Well, the set screws are definitely loose. Looks like gear puller time again. Oh, never mind. Unscrews. Didn't expect that one. That's an interesting twist. Oh, wow. Full of grit here, too. We're going to definitely need to clean that out. Now we've got this guy out as an assembly. Let's see how the front faceplate comes off. There's not too much wear in there. That's a good sign. It's nice and clean. So there is a hardened washer that looks like it's got a couple burrs on, but that reduces friction between this piece and this piece. Oh, so yeah, the tightness of the shaft is controlled by these threads, so that'll be easy to fix. So this guy goes on here. I'm just going to slide that back there and set that there. Now it looks like I can open this assembly with 4 screws. Maybe I'll take out the stops, the rotation stops first here. Interesting. Well, maybe we'll just slide them out of the way. Alrighty. I have a feeling these are designed a lot like the surface grinding wheel holders, and there's a ball bearing that this pushes down on. It pushes the ball bearing under, which not only locks it in place but prevents it from popping out. But I don't want to lose the ball bearings like I nearly have with the surface grinding arbors, because they come in pieces. So trying to assemble them without losing the ball bearings can sometimes be challenging, especially if you're all thumbs like I am. Looks like used motor oil. I don't know if that's what it is, but it's got that appearance. Oh, that's fully crunchy. Well, I could loosen the gibs and see what that buys me. Yeah, I'm not sure how this whole thing is supposed to come apart. I can loosen the gib screws and possibly get this out that way. They're already surprisingly loose. That's probably not great either. They didn't even feel like they were bearing on anything. Oh, you can feel the grit in there. Well, that's a good idea. This is coming apart then. Ah, it's spring loaded. That's interesting. There we go. Okay. So this part should push out of there. I just couldn't get it to come out. So now I need to find out why the pinion here is not engaging the rack. And so I'm going to clean this up and I'll bring you back. Interesting design. I've cleaned up the bottom here and you can see the scoring marks from grit that's gotten stuck between the plates. That's kind of interesting. Interesting design. So one side of it is a dovetail. I kind of expected both sides to be dovetail, but instead what they did is they made a gib that is dovetailed and on one side, flat on the other. So the three screws on the other side, these three, lock this dovetail in place, and then the three set screws set the amount of force that the dovetail puts on the dovetail on the other side here. Which I haven't cleaned up yet. So interesting design. I kind of expected this to sit in a dovetail way itself, and then you just push out with your set screws to set its position, but instead, actually if you undid this, you could just pop this piece straight off, and I guess that makes it easier to service. Maybe that makes sense. I'm not sure what their design considerations are. I am not a complete expert myself by any stretch. So next part, I'm going to get over here and I'm going to clean this side up. A lot of wear here. Looks like grit got stuck between there and just scored back and forth. Also, a lot of this grease has turned into solid goo. It looks almost like cosmoline, so I'm going to clean that up too, and I'll bring you right back. I made an interesting discovery here. So this gear is spring loaded, and it didn't move in and out because it was so badly gummed up inside. So I cleaned it up a little bit, and now it's free. Maybe that's what was causing the problem with gear engagement down here on the rack. So this is the pinion, and it's supposed to engage with the rack, and so you can pull it out on that side and re-engage. If you want to do just a one-sided turn, you can you can disengage the gear, slide this dovetail way over, re-engage it, and just move on the outer on that portion, or you can recenter it, etc. So I think I might have found it because I can't find any faults. These I thought maybe a pin had broken on the pinion gear, but it's fine. So we're going to reassemble this guy, and we're going to lube it up and see if we can get it to work. If anyone's curious, one of the things I always have available is isopropyl alcohol in this misting bottle, and I use that to remove lubricant off of things. It is a very light solvent, so not very aggressive. It tends to take water with it when it evaporates, so that's a plus, and it's pretty non-toxic. One thing you have to be concerned about, especially since this is a fine mister, is that the isopropyl is flammable if you spray it on a flame, so you got to always be aware of that when you're using it. I need to clean this up a little more. All right, next up, I'm going to reassemble this guy. So you can tell which side the gib went on. I wasn't careful to mark that, but fortunately there's a nice mark in the metal where you can see the surface that was ground from the factory versus what was worn with all the grit that got in between. So what I'll do is I'll put these two pieces together, slide the gibs in, put the locking screws loosely in, adjust the set screws, and we'll go from there. One thing I'll do first is I'll load this up with some molybdenum disulfide grease. I got to get a couple little bits of towel that got stuck in there out. But we will finish cleaning that up, add some grease, and we'll reassemble this guy. So it will go like this. Okay, so I'll pop that dovetail over in the corner. Then I will slide the gibs in. A gib singular. There we go. It's still spring loaded, so now I need to get these guys started. These three screws started over here, which I have not completely cleaned them yet. All right, let's get the grit off of there. See if we can get these guys just loosely started in the gib. And then we can pop in the set screws. There's two. So now this guy can slide very nicely. Oh, yeah, I can see where this grease is going to pick up grit and just pull it inside. I think I'm going to reduce the films down quite a bit. This is molybdenum disulfide grease, so it should leave some of the molybdenum disulfide on the metal, which acts as a lubricant all by itself. That's nice and smooth. Grease is what's on it before, so I just followed suit. Makes me wonder if a little bit of oil might have been a better choice. One thing I can see is that this is going to need periodic maintenance if you use it a lot. You're going to need to take it apart and get all the grit out because it's just going to get scored all up. In fact, I wonder if they shipped this thing dry originally. Just going to try and get the thinnest film of grease out here. Keep going back and forth till all the excess is gone. Okay, that's good for now. Next up, just gonna Put a little bit of lube on this guy. That is a precision ground washer, I can tell. Ooh, that is so smooth now. Holy cow. Kind of torn between grease and Vactra. I think we're going to shoot for Vactra on this. Way lube. Okay. Next up, screw this guy on, and this is the one that controls that slop. That should be good right there. So we'll tighten the 3 set screws that hold the threads in location. The nice thing about disassembling this whole thing is that now I understand how it comes apart, since I'm obviously going to have to get in here periodically and clean this guy out if I use it, which I think I will. Oh, that's nice and smooth. Not any play that way. That's nice. Now, let's see about this guy. Is there a flat spot? Oh, there is. Oh, that's where it was scoring. So there wasn't a flat spot. It was just scoring the hell out of the... you know what? I'm going to clean off some of this burr that's been turned up by the set screw cutting into this guy here, and I'll be right back. So I took a file gently around here and removed the burr all the way around. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Now I don't need a gear puller anymore. Surprise! So I think what would be handy would be having a detent for this set screw to sit in, because there isn't any real reason for this thing to be positioned in multiple locations. It really should just be set. I think what I might do is remove this set screw, put a dimple with this thing lined up right, and we're going to make a little spot for the set screw to sit into. So I've pulled out the set screw and I've centered this punch and just made a little indentation. Might have been a nice thing to take over the mill too, and just put a flat in it. That would have worked well too. Okay. I mean, this shaft doesn't take a lot of force. It's just rotating the bit on the end there. Make sure there's no burr on there. And I think it would be nice to get a conical point set screw, although it looks like it's finding, yeah, it looks like it found the position all on its own. Nice. Okay, so we can loosen these up. So there we go. That's a good sign. Although it's so freaking loose. All right, let's set it side horizontally so I don't have gravity helping me out here. So there we go. Didn't work at all when I got it. Now it's very smooth. So now I need to adjust the gibs so that this is a little bit snug. And then these probably will shift a little bit as you tighten these guys down. Yep. because that's pulling the gib back and tightening that dovetail. You know, it locked it right off. I see, so they did essentially provide a lock for the motion in this direction, and that is this set screw here. Just crank that down and this thing does not move anymore. That must be what they intended with this design. Okay. Yeah, so this should have been mounted like this so the vernier could read 0 when it's horizontal, which means it covers up, normally covers up one of the screws, which is kind of interesting. Really quickly here, let's go over all of the types of motion that this can do on the grinding wheel. So I've got the main shaft locked off, so this can't rotate. So right now, if you picture your grinding wheel sitting here, this will cut a flat on the bottom of the grinding wheel with the vernier here on 0. If I loosen this guy and then lock it off again at say 45, now you can picture I am doing a chamfer cut on the edge of the wheel, and I will grind a chamfer on the side of the wheel that I can use to impart a chamfer on on a cut. Next, the other options are 2 of them, and if I loosen this guy and I tighten this part so it doesn't move, then what I can do is right now this is below center, so the arc it's following is a curve like this. So I would be cutting the wheel in a curve, and I can put a radius in the wheel. If I again take this guy and put it above center line, it is now cutting out an arc that looks like this, and I will be cutting a internal curve rather than an external radius on the wheel, and I can cut that form into a part. If you want it to stop and just do one side, like from here to here, I engage that pin and I set the stops, one on either side here, and now it only goes between those 2 points. This is an incredibly versatile tool, and I was first told about it by Stan Zinkowski over at Bar Z Industrial. His channel is Shadon HKW. I highly recommend you check out his channel. He is an excellent teacher, and he does a lot of metrology and surface grinding projects. And thanks to Stan for telling me about this tool. Yuasa makes this tool, and it costs anywhere between $500 and $1,200 used, and a little over that new, or around that new. I got this one for a really good deal. This one's probably not a Yuasa. I don't actually know, to be honest. It's made in Japan according to the placard, but that's all I know about it. Anyways, a really handy tool if you own a surface grinder, highly recommended. And with a little bit of work, I got this one working, so I'm very happy about that. Thanks. One more tip. If you have to dress out a lot of material, like you have to do a really large radius, or you'll need to relieve the whole side of your wheel, it might be better to grab one of these Norton truing sticks. Here's the part number for you. Heard about this from several of the YouTubers, and you can remove a lot of material with this and not wear out your diamonds, so handy to have. Thanks for watching. Hope you find it useful. Hope to see you next time.